Hi friends, it's Sarah, the owner and maker behind Multifarious Nature. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, big welcome back. I'm glad you guys are here for another Great Guts adventure. And we're going to dive right in here. Hopefully it won't be a super long video. I think this one won't be as bad. Famous last words. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to blow that off there. I cleaned my drum carter. Yesterday's day 9 was possum, and that was interesting. There's probably still some possum on here. It is very interesting to clean off of this drum. I went to town on it, but yeah, there was lots of little bitty possum in here. Not as much as I thought there would be though, so that's good. But there's probably possum all over this room that I'm not even seeing because it kind of seems to get everywhere. But we've got, this is what we have for today. So day 10 with the MellyKnits Great Guts adventure. And it is Effie and Drucilla Fine Jacob, coated Fine Jacob. And it's from Daugherty Ranch Jacobs, Missouri, or Montana, I'm sorry. I said Missouri. Montana, with 5 grams of mulberry silk. And there is the label, if you wanted to see it. And our mulberry silk is colored. So, here is my pile of Jacob floof. I did combine it. The really cool thing about Jacob is they can be separated into white and black. But I'm going to combine it so I get a really nice gray. But we'll see how dark, we don't know what the shade of that gray will be yet. So that's kind of fun. So we're going to do that first. Well, that'll be our base, our main base wool. There was a bit of this like little veggie matter in there, but again, not as I have seen worse. So it wasn't terrible. There is still just a touch of it in here, but the thing is, as I'm spinning, I know that will come out. So I'm really not concerned. It's not like it's in there really deep, and it will be fine. Here is one of the locks. If you guys want to see it, it's a nice length. So this is Fine Fleece Jacob. So my Advent, Multifarious Nature's Advent, does have Jacob in it. It was not a baby. Like, I don't know if this is considered a baby. It just said fine fleeced. Very fine crimp on here. Very soft. The one that I have in my Multifarious Nature Advent is also, I say it is soft. It's soft, but it is a slightly higher micron count. It is an older sheep as well. So that's something. I was told that she's an older sheep. So I was kind of excited to get my hands on her fleece. It's beautiful. So unlike many Jacob where it's very separated, the white and the black, you literally can separate them. They're clear. There's not like a gray. Molly, I think her name was Molly, the Jacob fleece that I have in my Advent, she was a adult ewe that I think she's like 9 years old or something. Like, she was getting older, and it's really neat because her fleece actually has some gray bits in it. So there's like, you can't fully separate the white from the black. In some areas there's actually gray, which is pretty cool. So I like that. I mean, some would call that a flaw, but I think that's cool. So this is her one lock. This is the only lock I saved. I opened up everything else, so we'll open that up together. It's partially opened. But here is the mulberry silk. So interesting color, very Grinch-like. Like a, I'd say Grinch, maybe a little bit Electric's Pond Scum. I feel like that's something Melly would call this. I didn't watch Melissa. I watched the beginning of Melissa's video today, her Advent lore video, but I did not get to watch much of it because it's on my lunch break and I literally just get to watch the beginning. So I got to see some of, I think, Delightful, but I'm really curious as to what she has to say about all this. But kind of a fun color, interesting color, not one I normally would choose, but I'm excited to work with it and see what happens. I'm all for it. So let's get going. I'm going to probably paint this onto my drum carter. I think. I think I'm going to paint it. I don't know. I might try feeding it through, but let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. I feel very adventurous after yesterday. After yesterday's possum, I was kind of like, oh, now I can just do anything. Okay. So I'm just pulling this apart, and I'm going to feed this in nice and slow. There were just a few little second cuts, nothing major. Really nice fleece, and like I said, just minor VM. There was a decent, like a light VM, not like non-existent. It was there, but nothing crazy. All right, so let's turn on our drum carder, nice and slow, and we'll start feeding in a little bit of Jacob to start off. Nice thin amount. I have my wonderful hot cider to keep me company again. It's weird weather today. We were 38 degrees in the morning. Everything was melting or starting to melt. And we had freezing rain. And then it is back in the 20s tonight, I think, or 30s, like low 30s, I think. So it gets to freezing. And so we're interesting weather. It is what it is, but it's just bizarre. Anyway. Oh, that cider is so good. There's sugar in it. It's not the healthiest thing, but it's so good. And it just reminds me of my childhood in a very positive way. It really makes me happy. Okay, so I've got a nice layer of this, and we're just going to feed this on, and it's going to coat most of the drum, hopefully. So here's the one thing I noticed about Jacob. I noticed this when I was drum carding it earlier, like for my Advent. It is very springy, super springy. And if it doesn't fully get pushed into the carder, like, so it doesn't, I don't know the right word, but like carded into the carder, if it doesn't, it really is a bit of a bear, because it puffs up and then just, I don't know, it's a little bit of a bear. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to just go for it. We're going to pull this apart and feed it on here nice and thin and see what happens. I mean, this is the first pass. I'm going to put it through more than once anyway, so there's a little bit. There's a little. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It looks like electric pond scum. That's what it looks like. It is. It's like electric pond scum. A little bit of Grinch. So I don't like this very much right here. There's a spot there. So I did not find a lot of silk getting stuck on my Liquor In last time I did it, and I was painting it directly. So now that I've put this through once and I can see this patch that I do not like, I am definitely going to just paint it directly onto the drum. So I've got my little batch here, and I'm just going to keep on kind of just grabbing a little at a time and just very lightly touching it to the drum. I feel like that's going to give it a nice coating, and let it kind of do a full rotation before I move on to the next. That way, hopefully, I get a good coating of it. It's a really pretty. I'm not a big neon green person, like this swamp neon swamp green. It's definitely not in my normal wheelhouse of colors, but it looks really pretty because of the silk. It's just very vibrant and fascinating. Okay, let's add a little bit more, Jacob, just a little bit. So I did watch a little bit of, it was yesterday's video, and Melissa did talk a little bit about Jacob sheep, which now makes me want to go back because I kind of skipped over that a little bit because I was short on time. I really need to catch up on my Advent lore because I did not get to listen to some of them all the way through. And I've been trying to skip to the Great Guts Adventure just so I can kind of get a little bit of information on it. But she talks about, I think, where she got these Jacob's fleeces from. And I find that interesting. I would like to hear about it. So I'm going to need to watch it all the way through. That way I can get some of that info. Okay, so you can see there's definitely veggie matter getting in there. Now I just put a thin layer of Jacob, and we're going to add some more silk. Very gently. Just putting that on there. You don't want to push down too much, or it definitely will grab a chunk, which it did a second ago. I was pushing down too hard. But not the end of the world. So let's cover this. But we're getting so close to Christmas, it's just creeping up on us so quickly. So I don't know if any of you celebrate Christmas, but is there anything fun that you're doing? Preparation for Christmas. Are you guys spinning up any wool? I would love to hear about it. Or doing any advents at all. I would love to hear about it in the comments. I find it so interesting to discover new advents and what people are enjoying. Everybody's so different. Alright. Good. So now we're going to add a little bit more Jacob. And we'll get some more silk. So I'm just doing very, very thin layers of Jacob right now. Just enough that it kind of helps blend the silk. They have a decent amount of silk. I'm trying to put it on thin and not put it on thick, so that way hopefully it will get blended nicely, but then again, right there I went a little hard on it, but I have a decent amount of silk. It just feels like a lot. It probably is, just the 5 grams. I'm assuming she only gave me 5 grams of it, but it just seems like a lot of silk. That was a really big chunk of it right there. That was probably a fail. I'm really being heavy-handed with this. Like, really heavy-handed. Okay, add some more Jacob. Try compacting this a little bit with my brush. I think I just put possum. I did. Oh, that's not even possum. I don't even know what that is. Whatever was stuck on here. I got something stuck on my brush and I was pushing it into my bat. It's not what I want to be doing. Contaminating it. Something else. Jacob's sheep are kind of cool. They have 4 horns. If you're not familiar with Jacob sheep, they have the horns that come out on the side of their head and the horns up at the front or top of their head. Fascinating. Okay, let's add some more silk. I'm gonna kind of pre-open this up a little bit, hoping that that will help it get distributed. I've seen photos on Instagram of folks putting up these photos of the bats that they created with this day, and they look neon. It's really fascinating, depending how the light was hitting them. And we're almost there with our silk. A bit more here. Very, very soft. The shine on this is just crazy. Mulberry silk is so pretty. I know a lot of yarn bases, when they call for silk, sometimes have mulberry silk in them, and they're just so pretty, especially when they get dyed up. They just, like this, just shine and take the dye so nicely. I'm being a little heavy-handed with this, but we're gonna put just a little bit more Jacob first. A little bit. Spread that open. And just a little bit more. Nice and thin. Love it. Okay. So now we go back in with our silk a little bit, and I just kind of open it up so it's nice and fluffy, and then just paint it on. I will probably do at least 3 passes, if not 4, with this, because I want to get that silk distributed nicely throughout our bat. And because it's so vibrantly colored, you really have to do a few passes to kind of get that distributed. But even yesterday with the possum, I thought for sure, I was like, it's just always going to look a little creepy. And it actually looks pretty decent. I'm pretty impressed. I did not think it would do that. I thought it would just become a mess, and it didn't. It kind of worked in its own weird way, which is fascinating. So, again, we're opening up the silk and put it on here, paint it. Missed a spot. I was like, there's a little spot that down there. Okay, and we'll put a little bit more Jacob, and then the very, very last bit of our mulberry silk. And if you take a brush like this, sometimes drum carders come with a brush attached that's very similar to this. This is just one that's not attached, but it's the same idea. So when I push it like this, it helps compact it so that I can get more on the drum carder, and it helps keep the fibers nice and tight together. Okay, put this last bit of silk, and then we will put our last amount of the Jacob on. And then let's take it off and see where we're at. I for sure know we're going to be doing at least 1 more pass. Okay. Now we'll put Jacob. But see, this is similar to yesterday where it kind of grips itself a little bit. It's like it stays together and you have to re-pull it apart. Just kind of wants to become one with itself. But it's not rough or anything, but it just kind of grabs on. It's fascinating. Little nubbins there that I missed. And nubbins like that, you can also take off those little bits as you're spinning too, very easily. So get this last bit on there, and I'll take it off. gonna compact this. Help, like I said, hold that fiber together. And for opening and off, change our direction. Now let's topper it off and see where we're at. Ooh, look at that wild mulberry silk. It's wild looking. Alright. Yeah. It's good. I really do enjoy carding Jacob, though. It's a nice fleece to put on your carder. I cannot believe we're in the last 3 days of the Advent, the Great Guts Adventure. Like I said, there are 12 days, so I only have 2 more of this. And I'm really happy I was able to keep it up. Still have 2 more days. And I did debate whether I would be able to do this today, just things going on and everything, but I'm glad I did it. I like the practice of making these, that's fun. And it just feels good. It's good to make something. Okay. And beautiful. All right, so that is a really wild looking bat. If that doesn't look like wild, crazy electric pond scum something out of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's a little crazy looking. But what we're going to do is divide this into our usual. We're going to divide it in half, and then we divide those in half again, so we are dividing it into a quarter, 4 quarters, and then open that up widthwise so that it's nice and thin, and then it can get even more combined and blended. And my other favorite thing to do is to think, let's see, remember how I took it off of the carder. Feel like, I don't know, we're going to feed it on like this. Got to figure that out. Change your direction back and get that going. Go just maybe a touch faster, but not much. And feed that on. You'll see it'll start to distribute it really nicely. Kind of right away. Like there's still going to be some streaky areas here. Unless I open that up, it's going to kind of stay that way. So that's kind of on me to help break that up a little bit. So this next one I'll show you what I'm talking about again. So we're going to open this up widthwise. Anywhere where there's like a chunk of silk like this, I am going to just open that up a little bit. Get it nicely kind of distributed. That way, hopefully, when it goes onto the carder, it will continue to help distribute it and get it nicely combined. Because there were areas that ended up just being, I was kind of heavy-handed with it. And it's up to you if you want to do that up top or flip it and put that on the bottom. I'm going to try it on the bottom. There's another little chunk. Open up. And hopefully that'll help distribute that. So when you see it go like that, you can grab it if it starts to kind of chunk a little bit. But it's definitely starting to sort of distribute it a little bit. And then you get this kind of thing where it kind of grabs it. And it's already much more distributed than it was before. 2 more quarters here. Open it up. Start feeding and it should pull it on. This is going to look wild. Excited. So when things get stuck in here, grab it. This is interesting. The color is funny. Like, it's wild. It's just wild, but I love it. It's fun. Okay, and hopefully that will get grabbed by this drum as it goes around. And we have our last little chunk here. And then we'll take it off and we'll put it through again. That's cool. I don't know about you guys, but I really love seeing how it blends. Like how it starts and then how it keeps blending and getting more distributed. I find it fascinating. Here into the direction here and a bit mesmerizing. Like I keep watching it going over and over again. I really could. And that's looking more wild, isn't it? I don't know if you guys can't see that right now because I pulled it too far back, but I'll pull it forward and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Look at that crazy wild. I don't know if it's as wild looking in the camera. It will be when I get up close and you guys can see it up close, but it's psychedelic. I'm excited for my chaos bat where I'm gonna have a little bit of all these little advent bits in one. It's gonna be crazy. It'll have all these different colors in it. It'll have a touch of possum. It'll have sari silk, tussle silk. It's gonna be wild and fun at the same time because it's gonna be chaos. And it will be teeny. It'll be just a teeny bat because it's just whatever was on the liquor in and the remnants on the drum. Yeah. So it's a little bit of silk on there. Get that off. All right. Took that last little bit off really quick. Getting there. It's getting more distributed. It still looks a little chaotic, but it does look more distributed. So let's do another pass. So this will be the third pass. And it may or may not be the last pass because I might have to put it through again. It's very interesting looking. So I'm trying to tease open some of this silk so that it gets nicely distributed here. So anywhere where there's a chunk of this silk, I'm really trying to open that up so that way it'll blend. And not fast. Faster than the first pass, probably similar to the second. So just a little bit. Don't want it too fast. Because especially when you're doing something that you're going to keep on putting through the drum cart over and over again until you get the blend you want. You really don't want to be too aggressive, because that can backfire. That's for sure. Okay. Good. Another little bit of that silk. Alright, let's put our next one through. It's very interesting. I really enjoy looking at the silk and how when I take it off of the drum, it gets like all curly, and just because of the wool. Looks really pretty. I do debate how many passes, but I think I might do 4. So this is the 3rd pass. But I might do 4, and part of that is because I did not initially open. I got a little chunky when I put that Sorry Silk on here the first time. It was a little too chunky. I should have been a little bit more distributed with it, but it's not the end of the world. Just keep putting it through. But the key is you gotta go slow. If you guys are hearing funny noises, it's because my stomach is grumbling. That's what you get right now. I went and did chores and came in, and now I'm hungry, but I'm doing this. I am coming on here and recording every day because it's a commitment that I made, and I'm trying to keep it. So I really enjoy it. I really enjoy watching these videos. I haven't watched mine, but I do really enjoy watching others. And I figured, why not bring on a really cool events? I've seen clips of people doing it on Instagram, but I haven't seen a full on like this, like someone discussing how they're doing it and going through the process. And I always find that interesting because you might go about it totally differently, and seeing how that works when you do it and seeing how it works when someone else does it a different way, I think that's helpful. So it's a way to learn what you like to do. Loosening some of this silk. I can get it on there. My Pond Scum Silk. Electric Pond Scum Silk. Very electric. Okay. This is the last section. So, pretty sure I'm going to do another pass. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But I want it even more distributed. That really wispy Sorry Silk. It's Sorry Silk. Mulberry Silk. Mulberry Silk. It's just taking flight. It's so light and fluffy. And silky. Go. Little wisp. Get to our opening here. We'll take it off, and you can see it already is really getting distributed nicely. This is always where I like to look, is right here in this line. Now, I don't know if you can see that very well. It's hard because the light screen to me looks a little dark, but I do have my light on. I have it on bright. Bear with me. Sorry, I'm moving you a bit. It's a little bit brighter. Hopefully that you can see that nicely. Okay. So this is after 3 passes. Again, 120 TPI in the big drum, 90 TPI in the small one. For those of you wondering, like, what kind of TPI is going on here. And this is the 3rd pass, so I'm going to be doing a 4th. So if you have a lower TPI, you might have to do more passes to get something along the lines of this distribution. Just kind of keep that in mind. If you have one of those 70, what is it, 75? I'm not super well versed with drum carder TPIs. Okay. Jacob in here a little bit. Okay, there we go. So there it is, third pass. It's really getting there. I'm gonna do one more pass and then I'm gonna call it. So we're gonna do 5 passes. Okay. This mulberry silk does want to grab onto everything. So I'm wearing jeans, probably a mistake. And as I'm opening this up, it's just like any little bit of this mulberry silk is just grabbing my pants and wanting to hang out there for a while. So we're gonna, here, get that nice and opened. Again, I'm just gonna feed it nice and slow. And being pretty consistent with staying rather slow on this one, just because I knew I was going to be doing multiple passes. Just because silk has a tendency to be that way. If you want it to get pretty blended, you kind of have to keep going. At least the very little experience I've had with silk, which I can't say I've ever had to card mulberry silk. I hadn't done tussa silk. I've spun blends that have silk in them. And I do have to say, most of the blends that I do spin do have like little chunks of silk. Not heavy chunks, but like this kind of width of chunks. If you can see the silk at all, it's like, it's a little chunk. It is not only one strand of silk, you know, it's a little bit of silk. And that's totally fine. Okay. Next one on here. Alright. Looking good. I think after this part gets on, I'm going to compact it and then put the other 2 on and compact those. And we're definitely going to call it good after that. So there's a little bit of a chunk of silk. There's a little bit here and there, you know. I could keep going, like to try to get it nice and thin, but that was because I started off chunky. You know, that was definitely not a good call. I'm making my job a little bit harder when it comes to distributing this evenly. Right, 2 more sections. There's a little bit, I'll kind of open up a little bit. And almost there, guys. You're almost there. Hang in there. We're on our 5th pass, and here I thought silk might do me a favor, but I do remember silk in the beginning. It was day 3. Let me look here. Day 2. Day 2 was a silk blend. It was tussa silk, and I do remember I had to do like, I think 4 passes on that one. So it just takes a little bit. I compact this again. So I have one more section to put on here. It's just kind of chunky there. I'm really excited to make something with all of these. I have no idea what I'm going to make. And I know Melissa said they're not exactly designed to go together, but you can. They kind of are cohesive in their own way. I mean, they're all not dyed. There's dyed things added to them, but the wool itself is the natural color, which is cool. I love it. I love it. I am really loving this advent. I do not get me wrong, I do really like an advent that's already carded and I can just start spinning right away. I don't have to card it. This is actually pretty fun. And yesterday did scare me a little bit, like, to be fully transparent. I was a little nervous when I'm like, oh, possum. It's not the possum I thought, though. So I'm grateful that Melissa explained that. It is a possum out of Australia, and they're totally different than the creepy possums here, opossums here in the US that I'm familiar with. And they're like little, not trash bandits, because that's, you know, that's what we call our, whatchamacallit. Oh, for goodness sake, can't think of my critter. But anyway, you get the picture. Turn point here. All right, this is, let's take this off. You guys will be able to see it looks really good. Is it fully combined? It's pretty combined. It's very similar to the Tussle Silk from day 2, where it is mostly combined. Like it really is cohesive looking at this point. I mean, there's little lines, but it's not crazy. It looks really cool. Actually, it just looks really cool. I'm excited to spin this. Again, it's not the color that I normally would work with, but I'm fascinated by it. Very fascinated. It's expanding my color palette that I work with. So that's always fun. And learning how to work with new fibers as well. Also fun experience. And almost there. Bear with me here. In the final stretch. Right at the end here. That last bit off. Almost there. There we go. So there you have it. That is day 10 of the Great Guts Adventure. The beautiful Jacob, and that's a nice deep gray that I created by blending those together. A nice deep gray that will look almost charcoal, I think, when it's blended or spun up, because every time you condense something that looks like gray, it could get a lot darker when you spin it. And it'll have this really cool shine to it from that silk. So very cool. Five passes? Yeah, 5 passes on the drum carder. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope you'll join me for tomorrow's day 11 of the Great Guts Adventure. Until then, take care.